My name is Chris Friedland. I'm here at the Build.com Media Studio, and I'm here today to talk about efficient leadership. Or more apropos, how I work. So when people come into an organization, you're given an employee manual, you know who your manager is, and you're given a series of trainings. But what people don't usually get is a framework in which to operate. In certain sections of a business, there are best practices. There is Six Sigma for operations, there is Agile for software development, but if you're in general management or responsible for others, or even for yourself, there's no real system or operating system standardized to do so. So what I'm going to introduce to you today is an operating system to be an efficient leader and how to work incredibly efficiently. So what's the TLDR version? 1, leverage a framework to stay organized. 2, clean your inbox and empty it all the way to 0 daily. And 3, use software to keep yourself organized, and if you have any direct reports, them organized and on task as well too. So I'll start off with a quote from David Allen, who's the author of Getting Things Done, a system that I leverage heavily in this conversation and what I use daily to stay organized. Your mind is a great place to have ideas, but a terrible place to manage them. If you're still walking around with a head full of stuff that have your attention on, don't be surprised if you're not reaping the fruits of your labors. What David Allen is saying is there's a bunch of garbage that we keep in our heads because we don't have a system or a trusted framework to be able to capture it all. So what I'm going to offer you today is a version of David Allen's productivity model, but what I like to call on steroids. So his model in overview would be 1, no task should ever be in your head. Grocery lists, conversations that you had that you know you need to follow up on, projects that you owe others or yourself. They should be in a reliable system that you review on a regular basis, a system that you trust. And the reason for that system is because high-level thinking, strategic thinking requires mind like water. David Allen term as well, where if we have clutter and stuff in our head, we can't be focused on highest level strategic thinking. And to be in this state, you need to free up as much processing time as you can on low-level tasks, like I need to get milk at the store later today. So why have a framework? How is this going to benefit you? 1, it'll make you less reactive. So you're not going to hover over text and email, something that we all have to stop ourselves from doing. 2, it should keep you from hosting or being involved in redundant meetings that are used to disseminate information or to make decisions. Eliminates wasted time, so you're not out looking for documents or document hunting, and it will facilitate collaboration. Ideally, eliminate anxiety and wasted brain RAM, you having to think about and remember that you owe somebody something or that somebody owes you something. And ultimately, in the end, optimize work time and maximize enjoying your life. So once you implement the system that I'm going to walk you through, it's going to help you keep commitments to others and yourself, so you're going to be a more credible leader. It's going to prevent things from falling through the cracks. You're going to spend less time broadly communicating by setting up communication streams up front on any projects that you're involved in or working in. It's going to increase your trust and responsiveness to your peers. And in addition, it's going to create a level of transparency amongst you and your entire organization. So let me walk you through, and I know that this diagram is a little bit daunting, but let me walk you through how I operate my day. Our life is filled with stuff, whether it's emails, whether it's physical mails, whatever it is. We wake up in the morning and we have piles to deal with, whether they're physical or in our inbox. So everything in our day starts out in this inbox. And the process that I go through every single day is first I identify all the stuff that comes in and I ask myself, is it actionable? And if it's something that's not actionable, there's only really 3 things that I'll do with it. If it's a periodical and I have no use for it, I'll throw it in the garbage, or an email that's pointless. If it's something that I want to follow up with at a later date, but I'm not sure what to do with, I'll throw it in my list that I call my someday list or folder. And if it's something that I don't have any immediate need for, but I might make a reference to in the future, I archive it. And as we do with our Gmail, we'll hit archive and know it's there if we ever need to reference it again. Now, if something is actionable, it's an email from me to Sarah about an assignment or a project I wanted to work on, I ask myself, what's the next action? And if it's for me, if it's less than 5 minutes, I'll just do it. If it's to respond to an email, I know it'll take less than 5 minutes, I do it. If it's something that's going to take longer, it's a big request, I tell Sarah that I want her to do an analysis of payroll, I would expect her to forward it into her next actions list and put it into her system to process through and then create a workflow for us to follow. And if it's an appointment, I simply sit it on my calendar, I would move on. Now, more importantly, if in fact it belongs to someone else, and a lot of my work today in the day is spent delegating to others, I would delegate it. I would set it up in one of my delegation workflows, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. So a lot of people say, well, this sounds a lot like David Allen's Getting Things Done system. Why not just use David Allen's GTD? Well, GTD, if you're familiar with it, works really well for individual contributors, but when you're managing others or collaborating with others, it's not as efficient. And it was developed pre-technology, so when David Allen came up with the system, he really didn't update it for all the fancy tools that are available today. So I'd like to get into how we set this system up. First, pick a system. If you're with Build.com, you're going to use Flow, which is the system we use. There's other great systems out there, Asana, Trello, Podio, and a list of others, but we've been using Flow for years, so we continue to use Flows. So you set up this system. Next, you need to clean up your inbox. So we all get loads and loads of crap emails, and there's a lot of filters out there, and Google's even set up some nice filters for social, et cetera, but I found that you get too many folders in Gmail, it's almost more confusion as well. So I simplify things into two specific folders. One is what I call bulk mail, because it's a very simple filter that I set. Anything that has the word unsubscribe, you know it's not that important of an email. It was probably part of an auto mailer. And you would be shocked at just simply setting up this folder with the massive impact it'll have on the amount of email that you receive. I happen to say if it doesn't have flow, because I want those emails to come to me, I set up a filter and put it in this bulk mail folder. And all these things, while some of them are interesting, aren't something that I need to attend to first thing in the day. Amazon shipped an item, TripAdvisor published my review, all things that shouldn't clutter my mind as I begin to work in the day. Second piece, setting up flow for maximum efficiency. If you're using Flow today or using a system and you're not happy with it and it's not working for you, I recommend a bankruptcy. Completely scrap all the lists and everything you're doing and start over from scratch. And set up these lists. One for work tasks, things that you owe yourself. This should be a list. Others may collaborate with you on it, but it's things that you know that you need to do for yourself. Mine I keep private. Second, lists of people that you work with. In this case, are people that report to me. I have a Chris Ryan list, a Chris Russ list. So when something comes up and I know it has to go with Russ and I add it to the Chris Ryan or the Chris Russ list. Third, projects you own. So there's lists of people and people that you're working with, and you may be involved in a project or own a project, like for instance, mobile app. And then what I highly recommend is a personal list, because for most of us, work and our lives are enmeshed, and Flow is a great system to also manage a reminder that you may need to pick up milk on the way home, or maybe even something bigger that you're working on in your life. Second, setting up emails to be received in Flow. These systems work great when they work flawlessly with email. So if you set up your email addresses, you can actually forward emails into the system and turn them into tasks, which is one of the most powerful features of the system. Next piece, setting up daily reminders. For me, I've been doing this for the last 7 years. I don't need daily reminders because it's part of my workflow, but as you're starting to train yourself to use a system like this, it's important to get muscle memory. So receive every 7 a.m., top of your inbox should be a list of everything that's going on to remind you to go check in Flow. Then, as you set up your list, this is an example of my list, and this may not work exactly for you, but it works really well for me. I keep an individual list of all of the people that I'm working directly with. I keep a folder of lists of projects that I'm involved in. I keep a folder of private lists, which are one of my personal tasks, as well as my list I keep with HR for whoever's getting fired, promoted, or whatever else. And then I keep my personal task list and my someday list. My personal task list is for things that are going on with me personally, and my someday list for things that I want to follow up with periodically that I may want to do. And then, as I process through, I'll talk a little bit more about this, but I adhere to what I call what used to be, it's called by David Allen, the 2-minute rule. I call the 5-minute rule. Another key element to making the system work for you is setting up reminders in the system to task you to do things that you'll need to do on a regular cadence to keep the system clean. Since I'm a tactile learner, I like to demonstrate exactly how my day goes when I come to work in the morning and how I work, putting it all together. So first thing I do, I go through my physical inbox, any letters or other crap that I may need to deal with, scan, process mail, throw in the garbage. Second, like all of us, I immediately go into my email. And as I go into my email, between calendar appointments or meetings that I have, I will go through and I will do and answer and respond to any email that I get that takes me less than 5 minutes. If I can get it done in 5 minutes, I just do the work there. Somebody made an information request, somebody needs an approval, I just answer it. And then anything that takes more than 5 minutes, I forward to task@getflow.com, which puts it into the inbox of my trusted system. After that, I go into my inbox and I process through anything that I forwarded from my email into my inbox. So now I'll go through, and this is where the power of the tool is. I'll decide what project it goes in. I'll set a due date, who it's assigned to. In this case, I'm assigning this to myself, finishing this presentation. And then I'll add subscribers, which is one of the most powerful components of this, which allows you to set up a workflow of who's going to be involved in the chain whenever a file gets uploaded, a comment gets added, a date gets changed. They are notified, so they are in the flow of what's going on with this specific task. One of the most powerful components of the tool. Next thing I would do for my day is I move on to my tasks. What my tasks is in Flow is the stuff that I owe to others or owe to myself. The things I order it by date, so it tells me what is specifically due today in yellow. And if I'm really productive, I might even go through and complete things that are due at a future date. Next, I move on to the delegated component of Flow. Delegated is things that I've asked other people to do for me, that are things that are owed to me. In this case, Rocky's overdue on something that's owed to me, and Lindsay, Ryan, et cetera, have things that are due today as well. I might make a comment, I might follow up, I might check in and say, where are we at with this specific project? If I'm really lucky, I end up getting to my subscribe tasks. What subscribe tasks are tasks that I am included as a follower on, but I don't own, and I did not delegate. So this just keeps me in the loop of things that I'm interested in my life or the business. I can follow up, I can make comments, I can check in on if I'm having a super productive day. So to bring it all together, in addition to all of this, I play cleanup once a month. So I have a reminder that tells me go through every single list and every single task and eliminate anything that I want eliminated, update anything I want updated. Second, I review every single list and kill anything that's worthless. Third item, I clean up my delegated and subscribed tasks. Some people have jokingly called it Flowmageddon because their inboxes fill up with, why is it, I haven't been followed up on this, what's specifically going on? But this closes the loop and brings the entire system together. And the end results, as David Allen likes to say, mind like water, efficient leader, and a framework for how to work. Thank you.